How's it going? Pastor Andrew here with my next weekly vlog. One of the things as we start a new year that we constantly hear is the new year, new me people. The people that they start their new year, I guess New Year's resolutions, another thing we would call it. Now this is my goal for this year, and I think one of the number one goals that is kind of across the board is fitness. One of the biggest things everybody likes to do at the start of the new year is to try to trim off those 20 or 30 pounds. If you're going to do that, hats off to you. I'm proud of you, but as somebody that's an active gym goer, when you take up a machine, do it right. And if you don't know how to do it right, ask, because there's lots of people there that will be happy to help you out. So as one of the things, again, going to the gym, January and February, it's usually super busy. You can barely move just because it's so full. But as you get close to the end of February, people kind of give up on that goal, and it goes back to business as usual. Something about me that I can't remember if I've shared with you much or not. One of the things that happened to me in my life, I got out of the Army in 2016. I was like, I am never going back in. I'm done with this part of my life. The Army is dumb. I want nothing else to do with it. And like every good veteran, I grew out a nice, big, long, bushy beard and got super fat. However, about, a year and a half, 2 years ago, I remember waking up and going, dude, what are you doing? You are 250 pounds of sheer, unadulterated fat. You need to figure this out. You are almost 30 years old. You need to take care of yourself. You don't necessarily have the best family genes when it comes to being healthy. One of my best friends, though, he started this new fab diet about a year and a half ago called the ketosis diet. I was like, well, I mean, everybody's doing it. And my buddy, he already lost about 30 pounds in a month. So I was like, I can eat all the bacon and steak and cheese I want. Count me in. So I went on it, and Anna went on it with me, and slowly but surely I started losing weight. I'm like, holy cow, this is working. Dropped about, I'd say about 30 pounds, 30, 40 pounds, and I was like, Anna and I'd be joking. I'm like, Anna, all this weight I'm losing, I go back in the Army. This is crazy. And I'd say about a month or two afterwards, I kept losing more and more weight. And we went to the Kansas City Air Show, and my job in the Army, I was in a light infantry unit, so I got to see close air support and everything like that. I'll never forget standing on that tarmac and watching the A-10s flying over and just going, oh, I miss this so much. Oh, just hearing that nice definitive burping sound and watching those planes fly, and they had one parked there, and I got to go and touch it and everything. It just almost felt like I just kind of touched it, and then the energy came back, and I was like, oh, I want to go back in the Army. And Anna joked with me, and she's like, okay, we'll go talk to a recruiter, ha ha ha. So it was funny, she worked that night, and she got up to the next morning, or the next afternoon, to a picture of me taking a selfie inside the recruiting office. And the funniest thing about it was the guy that was my recruiter was a guy that I actually served with. He was a combat medic, and he recognized me right away. But never thought in a million years I'd ever go back in the military, and here I am back in the military now. I've been in for a few months, going through officers candidate school. A dream that I always had, but never fulfilled. Never thought I would ever get to do it. So, but as we apply that to this week's vlog, oftentimes our Christian life is full of kind of this grind. It's not easy. It's hard. God never promises us. He never tells us, no matter what Joel Osteen and the Prosperity Gospels tell us, nowhere does the Bible say that once you become a Christian, life is going to be easy. Oftentimes, if we're doing it right, life tends to be a little tougher at times. And we got to grind. It's something that I kind of my theme these last year and a half is I've done the keto diet. I've lost about 90 pounds just on the diet, and I've continued to lose. I've been off the diet now for about 3 months, and I've really kind of kicked my exercise up is kind of this mindset of rise and grind. I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to grind my day out to the end and get up and do it all over again. Exercise is one of the biggest examples of that. You know, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to grind, I'm going to run hard, I'm going to lift hard, I'm going to push hard, I'm going to sweat, I'm going to burn calories, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get to that physical goal of mine. Same with diet, you know. I remember going 2 or 3 weeks into the keto diet, and I would kill for a potato. The no carb part was so difficult. I would just dream. I wouldn't count sheep at night. I'd count potatoes at night to fall asleep. Man, I would miss potatoes and all of those carbohydrates and sugars. But the thing was, I knew it was worth it in the end. I knew that if I wanted to get to where I wanted to be, I was going to have to sacrifice and work for it. We live in a culture with instant gratification. We live in a society and culture where we get everything right now. We live in a day and age where we can just go and apply for a credit card and have a $10,000 limit instantly, and I can go and buy whatever I want. Forget about what I need to pay. Forget about with a 20% interest rate that's on that card. We live in a culture that teaches us that you don't need to grind, that you can just get whatever you want now. And I think that's one of the reasons as Christians we might struggle. Because God does not give us instant gratification. We have to grind. We have to work for it. Yes, our salvation is absolutely free. But now when we live the Christian life, we need to grind. We need to work hard. We need to not give up. We need to start each day as it's a new day, a new, fresh day. One of the cool things, I have one of these tracker watches, these cool Fitbits, and it tracks my steps. And I just upped my goal to 12,000 steps a day and going 6 miles a day. So one of the benefits that I have is I can look to the previous days and see, wow, yesterday I walked 17,000 steps, and now I only have 8,000 steps today. I need to step it up. I need to keep grinding. I'm able to keep track of my day as far as physical fitness. Our Christian life is the same thing. There's times that I kind of wish that I had a Christian watch or a thing that I could track, how much time I'm spending in God's Word, how much time I'm spending in prayer, how much time I'm spent, reading all of these tens of hundreds of books and commentaries for my own spiritual well-being. I can see and track how well I'm grinding for God. So when we talk about, though, grinding, what does that look like? Well, I've just given a bunch of different examples of how, we grind by spending time in God's Word. But I think one of the harder ways that we need to grind for God is our personal life. Talking about the keto diet, I'm not able to eat carbs. I'm not eating sugars. I have to deny myself these things, but it's going to be worth it in the end. And our spiritual life is the same way. We need to deny what our flesh desires. We need to deny what our culture and society tell us that we shouldn't deny. I think that's one of the hardest things when it comes to rising and grinding for God is denying what our flesh tells us. When we wake up in the morning, I want to get on my phone. I want to stay in bed, but no, I got to get up and do stuff. I got to be productive. It's easy. We live in our Christian life. We live in this mentality of grace of like, well, I didn't read my Bible this morning, or I didn't treat that person the way I should treat them, but God will forgive me. It's no big deal. No, that's not what a Christian life is. A Christian life is going, I want to tell this person how it is, or I don't want to spend time in God's Word. Our Christian life is knowing and realizing those things, but still taking the higher road. Knowing that I don't want to spend time in God's Word because I'm tired, I worked an 18-hour day, I just want to go home and vegetate on the couch and go to bed. Our Christian life is saying that, yeah, that's what I would like to do, but that's not what I'm going to do. when teenagers come and talk to me and they ask, Pastor Andrew, how can I be closer to God? I just feel like, I'm just not living a Christian life. And that's my first question I ask them. One, how are you allowing God to fill you, and how are you grinding for God in your daily life and denying what the flesh tells you for God? Because I think if we can look at those two aspects of how we live our life, it's going to give us a better understanding of our walk with God. We're going to get a better understanding of how we can grind better for God. Asking ourselves those questions. Asking ourselves, again, how much time am I spending in God's Word? How am I treating people? Where's my mind? Where's my heart when I think of non-believers? Where's my mind and my heart when I have to do something I don't want to do? Are we angry and grumble the whole time, or do we do so with a happy heart? Because God calls us to have a happy heart. This weekend, I challenge you. How am I rising and grinding for God? How am I bettering myself spiritually? How am I preparing myself spiritually? How am I sacrificing in my personal life for God? Because He calls us to sacrifice our flesh for Him. Sacrificing what we want. We see in the Bible, one of the biggest examples is fasting. I love food. I love food. But God calls us to fast because it's a mentality that I'm denying my body something for Him. That we show our love and our devotion to God through denying the flesh. So ask yourself this week and weekend, what can I deny? What fleshly desire do I have that I need to deny for God? Have a good week.